Hello, and welcome to Soft Step English. I'm Nora.
And I'm Ethan. I almost said, can we start this later? Which is a very bad joke for today's episode.
It is the perfect bad joke, actually. So let us start with you, the listener. What is one thing you keep pushing into the future? Studying English? Going for a walk? Sending one difficult email? Cleaning one corner of your room?
Or sitting on the edge of bed that has been staring at you for 3 weeks. Very polite, very scary.
Today we are talking about one small word that causes a lot of trouble, later. And our topic is simple and important. Why does action matter more than waiting?
We are going to talk about procrastination, what that word really means, why it is not just laziness, why tiny action is stronger than fantasy, and how to begin even when life is ordinary and messy.
And a quick level note, this episode is around B1 to B2 level. We will slow key ideas down, explain useful words in simple English, and if you miss a few words, stay with the main idea and come back later.
If that sounds good, you can follow or subscribe now so you can come back to Soft Step English. This channel is for calm, practical English you can actually use.
And if you want, leave us a comment today. Tell us one tiny thing you're starting today. Not your perfect future plan. Just today's first step.
Yes, we like ambitious comments, but we also like honest comments. I will wash 5 dishes is allowed.
Very allowed. So let us begin with a simple idea that stays with me. Many people want to change their lives, but they use a dangerous word, later. Later I will exercise. Later I will study seriously. Later I will save money. Later I will call my parents.
Later sounds so kind, doesn't it? It sounds responsible. It sounds calm. But really, it often means, I do not want to feel uncomfortable right now.
Exactly. Later feels safe. It asks for no effort in the present moment. It lets you imagine a better future without doing the hard part now.
So the problem is not the dream. The problem is the delay.
Yes, and this leads us to a key word, procrastination. Procrastination means delaying something you know you should do. But one important point here is this. Procrastination is often not laziness. It is an emotional habit.
I like that phrase, even if I do not enjoy hearing it. An emotional habit means you are reacting to a feeling again and again.
Right. Maybe the feeling is fear, uncertainty, pressure, or simple mental tiredness. Starting means you might fail. Starting means the task may be harder than you hoped. Starting also ends the pleasant fantasy that tomorrow will be easy.
That fantasy is powerful. Tomorrow me is amazing. Tomorrow me drinks water, studies English, answers emails, and becomes a better person before lunch.
Yes, tomorrow me is very productive. But what matters even more is this. Action creates clarity, energy, and confidence more often than waiting does. Many people think, first I need to feel ready. But usually beginning is what helps you feel ready.
In simple words, you do not get confidence and then start. Very often you start, and then confidence begins to grow.
Exactly. Once you take one small step, the task becomes concrete. Concrete here means real and specific, not just a huge invisible mountain in your mind.
You stop fighting the movie trailer in your head, and you deal with the actual path in front of you.
That is such a good way to say it. And then we get to another important idea. Procrastination often hides behind reasonable language. People rarely say, I'm afraid. They say, I need to think a little more, or I do better under pressure, or I just need right time.
Which can sound smart, very professional, very organized.
Yes, but sometimes it is only delay wearing a suit. There are some great examples here. A student spends days choosing the perfect notebook instead of writing one paragraph. An office worker makes a beautiful color-coded list and still avoids one difficult email. A person reads 10 articles about fitness and still does not take a single walk.
On the surface, they look busy, but underneath, they are standing still.
And standing still is a strong expression. It means no real movement is happening. The body may be active, the mind may be busy, but the important action is not happening.
This part hit me because thinking about action can feel similar to action. Planning feels like progress. Research feels serious. Talking about a goal feels like commitment.
Yes, and preparation is not bad. Preparation is useful when it leads quickly into movement. But if preparation becomes a hiding place, it stops helping.
So the question is not, am I preparing? The question is this preparation leading me into action, or is it protecting me from action?
Exactly. Then we see another reason tasks become heavy. People imagine them in a dramatic way. They do not think, I need to study for 20 minutes. They think, I need to become a completely different person and fix my whole future.
Which is exhausting before you even open the book.
Yes, when a simple task becomes connected to identity, self-worth, or your whole future, it feels emotionally heavy. The emotional weight becomes bigger than the task itself.
The English example here is really clear. Someone wants to improve their English, and because English matters so much, every study session starts to feel like a test of discipline, intelligence, and ambition.
Right. Missing one day feels like failure. Starting one lesson feels serious. And then the pressure becomes so big that the person delays again.
That is painful, because the goal is important, but the more important it feels, the harder it can feel to begin.
Which is why small action matters so much here. 5 minutes of review, 1 page, 3 sentences, 1 message. Put on your running shoes. Open the document. Wash 5 dishes.
Tiny steps sound almost too small, but that is the point. They reduce emotional pressure.
Yes, a tiny step is not a performance of your entire future. It is just a step. And that step breaks the spell of delay. It moves the task from imagination into reality.
And once you are in reality, you can actually work. Before that, you are mostly negotiating with your feelings.
Exactly. Then we get to another useful word here, momentum. Momentum is the force that helps something keep moving once it is started. At the beginning, the task feels like pushing a heavy car. The first movement is expensive. After that, it is still effort, but it is more manageable.
That is true for writing, cleaning, studying, everything. I can avoid something for 2 hours, then do 10 minutes of it, and suddenly it is not a monster anymore. It is just a task.
Which is why waiting for motivation is a weak strategy. Motivation changes with sleep, stress, weather, and mood. If you only act when you feel inspired, your life becomes uneven.
Some days superhero, some days potato.
Very direct, but yes. Discipline can actually make life easier. Not because discipline means suffering all day, but because it reduces the number of decisions between intention and action.
In other words, fewer debates in your head.
Yes, here is a simple example. One person says, I will exercise when I feel ready after work. Another says, at 7 p.m., I will walk for 20 minutes. The second plan is stronger because it removes debate.
The first person depends on mood. The second person depends on a system.
And systems matter. Environment matters too. Procrastination is not only about personality, it is also about the world around you. If your phone is next to you, distraction is easy. If your desk is crowded, starting feels crowded too. If your study book is hidden, the first step asks for extra effort.
And if your bed is 2 steps away, the bed is always making a very emotional argument.
Yes, human behavior is deeply influenced by convenience. If distraction is easier than effort, distraction often wins. If the guitar is already on a stand, you are more likely to practice. If the notebook is already on the table, you are more likely to write.
So this is not about becoming a perfect productivity machine, it is about being honest. Make the good action easier. Make the bad distraction less easy.
Exactly. Then there is another hidden problem, unclear tasks. The brain resists foggy instructions. Work on presentation is vague. Vague means not clear. Write the introduction slide and choose one chart is clear.
Get healthy is vague. Cook one simple dinner at home tonight is clear.
Yes. Clarity lowers resistance. Resistance here means the inner pushback, the feeling of ugh. Not now. When the next step is visible, the stress of beginning gets smaller.
So breaking a big task into smaller parts is not childish. It is smart. It turns a mountain into a path.
Well said. After that, we get 3 common failure patterns. The first is the fresh start fantasy. I will begin next Monday. I will start next month. I will become serious after the bay. Holiday.
That one is dangerous because it sounds reasonable, very clean, very hopeful.
Yes, but life does not suddenly become simple. If you cannot begin imperfectly in an ordinary week, you may keep waiting forever. The fresh start becomes an excuse.
So if you know someone who keeps saying, next Monday, send them this episode. Kindly, gently, but send it.
Please do. The second failure pattern is all or nothing thinking. If I cannot do a full workout, there is no point. If I cannot study for 2 hours, I should not study at all. If I cannot write a great draft, I should wait.
And then nothing happens. Because real life is not all. Real life is often a little.
Exactly. Real progress is usually uneven. 20 minutes counts. A short walk counts. 5 new vocabulary words count. A rough draft counts. Imperfect action goes much farther than ideal plans with no behavior.
The third pattern is confusing comfort with readiness. People think, if this still feels uncomfortable, maybe the timing is wrong.
But discomfort often simply means the task matters or it asks for effort. Discomfort is not always danger. Sometimes it is growth, uncertainty, or concentration.
That is an important life skill, really, to tolerate a little discomfort. Tolerate means accept it and keep going, even if it is not pleasant.
Yes, without that skill, many meaningful goals keep getting delayed. Then we get to something more personal, self-judgment. When people procrastinate, they often attack themselves. I am lazy. I ruin everything. I have no discipline.
Which feels dramatic, but it does not help. Shame burns energy. It does not give direction.
Exactly. Shame creates more pain, and then the task becomes even heavier. A better sentence is, I delayed this. Now I will do the next small step.
That sentence is calm, but it is not soft. It is efficient.
Very efficient, because it focuses on behavior, not identity. And behavior is where change actually happens.
Then we get one of my favorite ideas here. Action builds self-trust. Self-trust means believing your own promises.
Yes, many chronic procrastinators do not only have a time problem, they have a trust problem. At 9 a.m., they promise to start at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m., they delay again. After enough repetitions, even their own plans sound weak to them.
That is sad and very real.
It is. And self-trust is rebuilt through kept promises, especially small, repeatable promises. Not big speeches, not perfect mornings, kept promises.
Like the job search example. I will fix my whole career tomorrow is too big. At 10:10 a.m., I will spend 15 minutes editing the first half of my resume is livable.
Exactly, then maybe the next day is 2 job postings. The day after that is 1 draft application. Small steps, but now a future is being built.
The home example is good too. A tired parent sees dirty dishes, papers, chores, everything. Looking at all of it creates defeat. But washing one pan or clearing one corner changes the emotional atmosphere fast.
Yes, action brings order faster than complaint does. And this leads to the central contrast here. Procrastination says, not now. Action says, just begin. Procrastination promises comfort, but often creates guilt, stress, and last-minute panic. Action begins with discomfort, but often leads to relief, strength, and useful progress.
Over time, those are two different lives.
They are. So what does practical change look like today? The guidance here is very clear. Reduce the size of the starting point. Make the first step almost impossible to refuse.
Write 3 honest sentences. Review 1 page. Walk for 5 or 10 minutes. Open the file. Just enter motion.
Then decide when and where the action will happen. A specific plan is stronger than a vague wish. I will practice English at my desk from 7:30 to 7,050 p.m. is much stronger than I should practice more?
Because the second one is a cloud, the first one is a meeting.
Good. Third, prepare the environment before the moment arrives. Put the book on the desk. Charge the laptop. Put the shoes by the door. Remove easy distractions.
You do not need a perfect room. You need a room that is not arguing with you.
Exactly. Fourth, measure success by return, not perfection. If you miss a day, the important question is not, did I fail? The important question is, how quickly did I return?
I love that. Return, not perfection. That is strong.
Yes. People who return quickly from small failures make steady progress. Fifth, let results teach you. Many fears become smaller only after action. Reality gives information, avoidance only gives delay.
That line is so good. Reality gives information, avoidance gives delay. One helps you. One only stretches the problem.
And it closes with a deep point. Life becomes more honest when action enters it. Thoughts matter, plans matter, dreams matter, but they only start to change a life when they become behavior.
You do not need a new personality first. You do not need perfect confidence, perfect clarity, or the perfect morning.
You need willingness. A willingness to begin before you feel fully prepared. Today may be busy, inconvenient, and emotionally ordinary. That is exactly why today is the right day to begin.
Because if you can act on an ordinary day, then change becomes a practice, not a performance.
Beautifully said. And before we close, it is time for our word tour.
Yes, slow voices, clear mouths. No running. Let us do it.
Our first phrase is later. Say it with us. Later.
One more time. Later. In this episode, later is that safe future word that asks for no effort now. Example, I said I would clean my desk later, but later never came.
Good. Next, procrastination. Repeat after us, slowly, procrastination.
Procrastination means delaying something important. Example, watching 5 videos instead of sending 1 email was procrastination.
Now, emotional habit. Say it with us. Emotional habit.
This means a repeated pattern connected to feelings, not just a thought, a habit. Example, when work feels scary, delay becomes an emotional habit.
Next, clarity. Slowly, clarity.
Clarity means clear understanding. When you start, you often get clarity. Example, after 10 minutes of writing, I had more clarity about the report.
Very good. Now, standing still. Repeat after us. Standing still.
This means looking busy but not truly moving forward. Example, I made a perfect plan, but I'm still standing still.
Next expression. Momentum. Say it with us. Momentum.
Momentum is the force that helps continued movement after a start. Example, the first 5 minutes were hard, but then momentum helped me continue.
Now let us do fresh start fantasy. Take your time. Fresh start fantasy.
This is the dream that everything will change next Monday, next month, next year. Example, I kept waiting for January 1st. That was a fresh start fantasy.
Excellent. Next, all or nothing thinking, slowly with us. All or nothing thinking?
This means if something cannot be perfect or complete, you do nothing. Example, I only had 15 minutes, but all or nothing thinking told me not to study at all.
Good. Now, discomfort. Say it gently. Discomfort.
Discomfort means a feeling that is not easy or pleasant, but it is not always danger. Example, I felt discomfort before the interview, but I still prepared.
Next, self-trust. Repeat after us. Self-trust.
Self-trust means believing your own promises. Example, when I practiced English every evening for 1 week, my self-trust grew.
And one more expression that I really want you to keep. Return. Not perfection. Say it with us. Return, not perfection.
One more time. Return, not perfection. This means your success is not about never missing. It is about coming back quickly. Example, I missed 1 day, but return, not perfection, helped me start again.
Very good. If you want, pause here and repeat those phrases again, later. Procrastination. Emotional habit. Clarity. Standing still. Momentum. Fresh start fantasy. All or nothing thinking. Discomfort. Self-trust. Return, not perfection.
That is a very useful set of words, honestly. Not just for English, for life.
It really is. So here's your small homework for today. Choose one thing you have been delaying and make the first step tiny. So tiny that it feels almost silly. Then do it today, not in your fantasy version of tomorrow.
And come tell us in the comments, what is your tiny step? I opened the document. I studied 10 words. I washed 1 pan. We want the real answer.
If this episode helped you, you can follow or subscribe, leave a like, and send it to a friend who keeps waiting for the perfect Monday.
We will be happy if it becomes that gentle little push in their life.
Thank you for spending this time with us on Soft Step English.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Nora.
Start small, start honest, and start today.
Your English keeps growing step by step, and there is more waiting for you in the next episode.